Hello and welcome to GEOSCOPE on Politics Social, and I'm joined, as always, on GEOSCOPE by Ollie Bowler Hatman. Ollie in Yorkshire, how you doing, Ollie?
I'm all right. Are you?
I'm all right.
Excellent.
So I just got back from Wales. I was out in Llandudno, as the locals call it, or Llandudno, as us daft Sassenachs call it. It was really good. But apparently, I'm just moving my laptop here, so it looks so weird when I look down at it. There's a lot going on. Tell us about Trump's PTSD. I'm quite intrigued about this. Apparently he's watching the footage of him getting shot at over and over again and being weird about it all.
Yeah, this is one of the things that's been following him for since the attempt was made. You are right. He's been watching this footage. Age have been kept on saying he keeps on watching the footage over and over again, and he's been refusing to now go do outside events. And here's the fun thing about this: the reason why Trump was doing an outside event in the first place was because all the indoor stadiums will not do any business with him because last time he did not pay them. So essentially, have not. Yeah,
because he's known, isn't he, for stiffing people, especially the little guy. Puninator's got a question for you, mate.
Oh.
An urgent question, I think. He wants to know, where's the bowler hat, man?
There we go.
Oh man, that is a beautiful bowler hat, man, that you've got there.
There we go. Even got the fez.
A bowler fez.
On
a bowler hat
today.
fez. There you go, Puninator. You can't argue with that, can you? Let's have a look who we've got in the chat. We've got Puninator, we've got Richard is in the chat. We've got Vendetta, we've got Evil Ginger, we've got Roger Devine saying I'm disgusted, spelled as in the food that you eat, custard. Evil Ginger saying Graham works on Graham time. Cathal, evening all. Jan Wallace, hello from France. Hello. I'm in Liverpool this week. So it's all a bit more ad hoc than normal. But to be honest with you, Ollie, it having the mobile studio, which is just basically a green screen and a bring me lights with me. It sounds. I got a new laptop a few months ago, and it seems to be holding together slightly better than I thought it would.
Well,
slightly better than the old one.
Together's works, so
Well, the old one was 6 years old, and I think you just get to a point with laptops where they're just I can't be bothered with this anymore. And I had deleted everything off it, and it's still not run it properly. Anyway, no one cares about this technical side of things. All they care about is, so what's going to happen next with Trump then? So he can't do any indoor arenas. I thought you were going to say that he doesn't want to do any more indoor arenas because he doesn't fill them, and then people show pictures of all the empty seats. Whereas if it's an outdoor thing, you don't really see the pictures of the empty seats, do you?
This is it. This is exactly just hit upon the point. This is why he gets annoyed or why he's apparently been stiffing these indoor arenas, because he's accused them of not filling the arenas for him. It's not their job to do that. All they do is provide the space. They do the rest. So he has been avoiding those indoors.
I think we should sue YouTube, because there's only a couple hundred people watching this, and I reckon we should sue them because there should be more. What do you reckon? Let's sue Google. Come on, we'll do it together. It'll be fun. Michael Warner, £2 super chat. Thank you very much. I think that £2 goes straight to Ollie, actually. I owe you another drink when you come here for the Labour Party conference next month. I needed that Fez chuckle. Thank you. There you go. So that's all good. That's probably a half pint, actually. In these days, mate, I used to call pound coins beer tokens. You can't do that anymore, can you?
Oh, no. Gone are those days, yeah.
Knock, knock.
Oh, no.
Who's there? The patron saint of Llandudno. The patron saint of Llandudno who? That's Tony Banstable by Half Man, Half Biscuit. Who were banned, along with Ned's Atomic Dustbin and Cast the Unstoppable Sex Machine. It was a strange time in our lives as a nation. We just gave bands crazy names. But yeah, maybe if you pronounce it Llandudno, then it makes more sense. Jump James says, sounds like the Space Karen suing the advertisers to buy ads on X again. Both entitled babies don't get that no one is interested if the show sucks.
Yeah.
There you go.
And advertising, we've now found out once again, dropped on X. What a surprise!
Oh, has it gone down again?
Advertisers, they run away.
Are they not thinking? Oh, we better advertise on Twitter, or he'll sue us.
Nope, they're doing the exact opposite.
Oh, okay, not having anything to do with him because
they are leaving in droves. Not only that, but Twitter usage has dropped. Believe it or not.
I'm not surprised.
Who would have thought that?
We're having a big Exodus day, aren't we? This was suggested by A. Thompson, and the little graphic for the exit thing with the little birds flying away. That was Mike Dix who drew that. So yeah, that actually happens on the 25th of August. Shout out to Aid for just randomly announcing a date and going, let's all leave on this date. And we're like, okay. We're all kind of half left anyway, because it's just it is. I just hate going on it. I absolutely hate going on it.
I can't leave, unfortunately. I need an account to at least keep an eye on stuff.
It needs you don't need it, mate. It needs it. It needs you more than you need it.
I need it for work purposes, so I can't get.
It lives off your fear, right? It appears every 27 and a half years or whatever.
I still have a MySpace account.
Eats your fear.
That's how invested I am in some
MySpace. MySpace is pretty cool, though. I'm sorry, I'm a pointer on your face. Then that was naughty of me. Sorry about that, for having my pointer on Ollie's face. Didn't realise. Anthony Fisher. You can't call pound coins beer tokens anymore, but you can call £10 notes beer tokens now. Every cloud, Graham.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Well, it depends where you go. In London, maybe, but
in London, yeah. So basically, one thing that I do want to mention as well, talking about sort of Trump and just rich people in general, like, I think what's happened off the coast of Sicily is an absolute tragedy. But why is it 2 days now of live updates on the BBC website? We don't get that when a boat full of refugees capsizes, do we?
It is a bit uneven
updates?
Coverage. Yeah.
It's a bit much, and like I say, it's a tragedy. I feel really sorry for the people and the families involved, but is it worth rolling coverage in the way that you do when there's, like, I don't know, a proper humanitarian disaster, a war, something? Although they gave a blow-by-blow account of the first Taylor Swift concert last week in Wembley. They literally had live updates telling us what costume she was wearing on the 749th day of her Eras tour, which she wears the same costumes every night in the same order. And the BBC was like doing updates on it. It was like having a Wimbledon update where it's like, they're hitting the ball with their rackets, and you're like, yes, that's what they're meant to do.
Who would have guessed a pop star wearing the same thing?
Live updates. And Lucy Willis is saying, isn't MySpace due for a comeback? Well, funny you might say that. Funny you should say that. MySpace was bought by our least favourite Antipodean, Rupert Murdoch, back in, 2007 he bought it? 2008?
Yes, bought it off Tom.
And he lost millions. I mean, Musk has lost billions on Twitter, hilariously. But yeah, these big sort of media moguls, they don't really understand the internet. And we let Friends United die. We let MySpace die. Do you remember Google Plus?
Yeah,
let
Google
it die.
Circles, yeah.
Let it die.
Well, Google let that die more than anything else. But
the people Google just didn't use it.
Google lets everything die.
Yeah, because they were like, this is rubbish. Do you remember Google Wave? Do you remember Google Wave? They thought it'd be a good idea to have an app, like an instant messenger, that messaged the letters you were writing. So when you made a mistake, or, when you're in like a group and someone texts something and you write, oh, fuck off. And then you go, oh no, and you better delete it. And then you write what something a bit more diplomatic, or you just don't write anything at all. They would see you writing, oh, fuck off, and then deleting it. I mean, whose idea was that? Like, who at Google was like, oh, this would be great. This would be a great way of ruining friendships and influencing people, de-influencing people. Pikachu is saying that Ukraine has banned the Moscow patriarch
from the
of the Orthodox Church from its territory. That's quite interesting.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
Can we talk about Ukraine? It's just like, it's mad, isn't it?
I didn't know how long this was going to last for, whether this
forever,
was going to
mate.
be like a
They're just
temporary
having it.
thing or whether it was going to be a permanent thing. But no, they are
It's
going for
permanent.
it. They are like making like a
Kursk is
proper
now
security corridor.
an oblast of Ukraine.
Yeah.
In your face, Russia. And they've got loads and loads of hostages, haven't they, or prisoners of war?
Yeah, like I say, tons of soldiers have surrendered, tons of Chechens as well, because that's apparently who was guarding the border. Oh yeah, did you also see the weird revelation as well that Kadyrov,
the Tesla,
the leader of Chechnya, has a Cybertruck
Cybertruck
that he's converted into a technical by putting a machine gun on.
He's put a machine gun on the back of it.
So yeah, that's the very first weaponized Cybertruck.
God, why do we have to deal with the midlife crises of all these psychopaths around the world? Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to go back to the days of the proper, psychos of old who just used to murder a few people and collect their body parts, to build.
Also, did you see the other thing that happened? I don't know how true this will actually be. There was this Ukrainian who tweeted out a picture of
your mom. Sorry, I couldn't resist it. Go on.
Oh, you've been talking to Aid too much.
Serious news channel here. Serious news and politics.
God, where were we now? Oh yeah,
getting into trouble for tweeting things. Who was tweeting?
Yes, he got.
Was this a Ukrainian?
No, this was the
Russian.
No, it was a Ukrainian soldier that tweeted out. What's the state called now? Oh, between Moldova and Ukraine.
Transnistria.
That's it, Transnistria. Yeah. They tweeted this out, and
what did they tweet? What was the tweet?
The tweet was, would be a shame if this got liberated. And that has also caused Putin a bit of a panic now.
Brilliant. That's like the mafia coming around, isn't it? Nice place you got here, mate. We want to see it liberated now, would you?
It would be hilarious. It would be hilarious if Ukraine were now to go into that and just liberate it.
Yeah. You're up for a bit of liberation. We're getting some technical details here off Svax in Ukraine. Svax is saying no, it's not an oblast, but a territory under our temporary control. Okay, yeah, I was being a bit facetious like that. Just like our territory is under temporary occupation. But what's great about this incursion into Russia is it's really shown up Russia to be the paper tiger that it really is. Like, Russia has put down these red lines again and again and again, and Ukraine has just marched all over those red lines. And what's Russia done? Nothing.
Yeah, this is the other thing that came out as well. The Storm Shadow stuff that I don't know if you saw that as well. No. That we'd been saying, if Ukraine wants to use Storm Shadows, we want to give them the green light to do that. Yeah. But we've been asking America, hey, is this all right? And America's been leaving us a bit unanswered, unfortunately. Nice. So I think it's a bit depressing, because every single moment, every time this has been shown, if Ukraine has the weapons to do what they need to do, they can get the job done.
They get the job done.
Yeah, we are tying their hands.
Seal. They do exactly what it says.
Tying their hands behind their back by not allowing, I think, these weapons. I think it's well past the time that we actually gave them permission to start striking deep into Russia, because like I say, we've kept on passing all these red lines. There's Challenger 2 tanks technically in Russian territory, apparently, because they've been involved in this incursion. I don't see Putin fulfilling any of those red line things he promised. So
I'm reminded of that line from Douglas Adams when he said he loves deadlines. He loves the whooshing noises they make as they fly by. Yeah. And I'm just thinking about like red lines. I love the whooshing noises these red lines make as we break through each one. QA Libraries saying that reporting is that Trump is on the phone with Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, urging him not to cut a deal right now because it's believed it would help the Harris campaign.
Yeah,
if this is true, is a blatant violation of the Logan Act, named after, obviously, Wolverine. Have you heard about this, Ollie?
I wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't surprise me. This is typical Trump. Of course, he's going to try and do anything he can because he wants to be seen the ones doing the deal. Like, Harris was Biden was just incapable. I came along and did the deal. I'm the deal maker.
Yeah.
That's Trump's whole
Well,
shtick.
this is a huge thing. If anyone that is voting for Trump because they're saying, oh, he's going to do something about all these people coming over from Mexico, it's like there was going to be a deal, a bipartisan deal that had been agreed by both sides of the houses of the House of Representatives and in the Senate. And Trump told his Republican lapdogs to basically torpedo it at the last minute, so that he could make it a thing for his campaign, because he didn't want the what was then the Biden campaign getting a win. So when he talks about, I want to do something about immigration, he's lying. He doesn't want to do anything about it unless it helps him politically. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about anything. Tim Ballum, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. That is very kind of you, sir. Hasn't a load of Russia's gas pipeline infrastructure accidentally had a meeting with a discarded cigarette? Yeah, I heard about there was a Ukrainian who was arrested for going after the Nord pipeline in Poland. Is that right? Or am I just making that up?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that.
Okay, all right. Benjamin saying, I've seen that Ukraine have said they would deal with the Russian soldiers in Transnistria. They're just waiting for Moldova to give them the green light. That's interesting. Evil Ginger says, same here, that given the way he killed the border bill, which is what we just mentioned. Michael says, every parent knows that if you make a threat, you see it through or lose all credibility. That is absolutely true. Number 3 says, Ukrainians make their own missiles. Perhaps they could make longer range ones or lots of cheap ones. I don't know if that is that easy. Vendetta say, bring back Ted Bundy. The gentleman, the gentleman serial killers, the gentleman psychopaths, compared to what we have now, which is people like Trump and Elon Musk and Putin, and Netanyahu, who are these incredibly wealthy cretins with a lot of power, who are killing lots and lots of people, seemingly for fun. Although for Trump, it's to keep him out of jail. For Benjamin Netanyahu, it's to
also
keep him out of jail. For Vladimir Putin, it's to stop him from falling out of a 5th floor window. So there you go. Jamie says, I saw the Trump board game in a shop. Most of the pieces weren't there. Well, yeah. That's what you can say about Trump, and he's a few pieces short of a board game.
Well, what do you think? Because I know you watch the US rest is politics as well with Scaramucci, and he's been saying for a while that he thinks Trump's gonna either gonna leave the race or he's gonna drop out. Do you think he's right about that? He's
Isn't leaving the race and dropping out the same thing?
Well, yeah, but
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think Scaramucci's a little bit hyper. I mean, I don't to another. I understand, but
I think Trump's too much of an egotist to do that.
Yeah,
I never think he would drop out.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's too full of himself, isn't he? And like, if he does drop out, I mean, okay. Maybe at the polls really pull away for Harris after the Democrat convention this week. If she's 10 points ahead in the polls at some point, he might just go, I'm going to cut my losses, and he might get on a private plane to a country that has no extradition treaty with America. So that could happen, but if he does lose in November, he's got a strategy. He knows what he's doing. He knows what to say and what to do to get his fake electors on side and all these judges that he's put in place. And he's got the Supreme Court on side. So if anything goes to the Supreme Court, they're going to be like, yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full, sir, for Donald Trump.
Well, one of the things that's interesting to bring up is what if Elon, starts to tweet about that, or if he starts to, spread the misinformation of Trump, because, we saw the interview a couple of weeks ago. What if Trump starts tweeting out, this election's been stolen, this landslide's all fake? What if Elon starts boosting that? And what if you get another potentially even worse January the 6th? Because we know they took guns last time, but they didn't use them. But, what if next time? What if? I think that's quite a bit of a deadly scenario to be worrying about, really.
Yeah.
On that front.
Puddinator, thank you very much for the super chat. Ollie, how close to Moscow will Ukraine have to get for the Russian government to consider their special 3-day operation a failure?
Well, we know from some of the
Great
stuff that's
question.
been coming out, Putin has been put under huge pressure because we talked about this last week. Kursk is like monumentally important to like the Russian psyche. You know, World War II to them is like a huge moment in their like national history and story because Putin has hyped it up. He's made it so that this is like a big thing, like the great patriotic war again. That, you know, remember, guys, World War II for Russia started in 1941. Everything before that, nothing. You know,
nothing.
So Kursk is a very, very, you know, it's built into sort of the Russian psyche because obviously Kursk to them was where they managed to sort of finally turn back, you know, the German invasion. So to them, losing that territory and someone else holding that territory, and for Russia, remember the first time since World War II, it's been invaded. Massive blow to like the image that Putin has. So it is doing a lot of damage to him, the fact that he is now holding that territory. Because I think what Putin really wanted to do was he wanted to freeze the conflict. But now that, you know, Ukraine holds Russian territory, he can't freeze the conflict because they hold Russian territory as well. That doesn't look good for him.
Good point.
It's all, I think, coming to a point where I think we are approaching some sort of end game. How this all ends, I can't say, but I think we are getting there. And I think next year, it will come to an end at some point. Either, you know, something will happen in Russia, there will be a revolt, something might happen in Chechnya. You might get something like we saw in Dagestan has been a bit volatile as well. So maybe something kicks off there. You know, maybe Putin says, right, we're going to come to the table and, you know, we're going to talk. We don't know, but I think it will happen next year because I think it will be very, very much dependent on what happens in the US election. And it's going to be Kamala Harris. And I, for one, I'm certainly watching to see what Kamala Harris has to say about the situation in Ukraine and what she might say about how she intends to handle the situation over there. So definitely watch out for that one.
Michael in the chat is saying the issue is, when does that pressure become nuclear? Now, when was the last time the Russians did a nuclear test? It was
been a long time.
It was before the Berlin Wall came down, wasn't it? So you're talking 40 years or something since they last did a nuclear test. And like, you know, I don't think they've updated the tech at all. And these things don't last forever. I mean, the nuclear,
you've got
radiation lasts forever, but
constant things, these under maintenance. You've got to keep these things under constant maintenance. They cost billions of dollars. I mean, America spends billions of dollars. And even then, if you watch, I think there's an old John Oliver
where they're talking about
the safety of these places.
Like 5.25-inch floppy drives that you've got to put into to make it work.
Yeah,
but you know, you can't hack into it using the internet, so that's kind of a good thing. But yeah, it'd be really funny if like they did a Mission Impossible and it was a big fuck off floppy drive that they were trying to get into the disk drive to stop the bomb going off. But yeah, I don't know. Look, if I'm wrong, then that's the end of the world. But I don't think that they have the nuclear weapons.
I don't think he ever would. He'd be turned into a massive pariah if he used one. Okay. Even if he used like a smaller yield one, like they've got you know, military sort of small tactical nukes are in their military doctrine because their whole thing was they were going to sort of nuke the West and then they were going to roll through the fallouts to sort of, you know, invade the rest of the West. But that is still very much in some of their military doctrine. They do have those small scale weapons that they can fire from artillery shells. If he was going to use one, that's what he would use. But even then, there's a risk of the fallout that will probably come back onto Russia in some way, shape, or form. So using one would not be the best of ideals. And I think that at that point, that would be a serious push, I think, on that.
We're getting told by QA Library that the USA has now replaced the floppy disk drives with mini disks. No, I don't know with the mini. I don't know what with, but maybe because of the John Oliver report, they were like, "Oh shit, we better update this." But yeah, I mean, things have gone a lot of in a completely different direction, and it always reminds me of that scene from The Simpsons when Homer would join the Navy or something, and the Soviet Union comes back. And they've got all the floats. They've got all these lovely peace parade floats, and then someone presses a button and they all open up and there's tanks inside.
That's what we wanted you to think.
Okay, I've got a coin here. I got a 20p piece. I want you to give me heads and tails. Heads is Saudi Arabia. Tails is Russia.
Oh.
Go on, heads or tails?
Oh, heads.
It's actually come up tails, I'm afraid. Oh. So you were wrong. You said Saudi. It was actually Russia. This is the country that we think that Trump is going to run away to when he loses the election, or maybe, if you're right, maybe slightly before he loses the election, because he doesn't care. But Russia is apparently offering asylum to anyone out there who's sick and tired of Western liberal values. So tell us more about this new asylum system.
This is so bizarre.
Not under the cosh of fascism, who just want them some of that good old-fashioned fash.
Do you remember, we talked about this, this was months ago when we talked about this, but do you remember the advert we talked about that Russia had been putting out about trying to stop Russians going and moving west?
Yes.
That's so bizarre. You can look it up on YouTube. It's so weird. It is so weird.
Advert for, do you know what the best video ever for getting them to go west was? It was Go West by the Pet Shop Boys. Life is peaceful in the open air. Originally sung by the Village People, obviously, and they were talking about the west coast of America. But then the Pet Shop Boys redid it, meaning, let's break up the USSR because it's rubbish. Anyway, go on. Sorry, Ollie. Are you thinking of giving up your Western freedoms?
No, I would never move to Russia.
Go on, mate. You could be put to death for doing a podcast. It's great.
Far too cold.
Off to Siberia with you.
Off to the gulags. But yes, they are offering this now as an attempt to try and make this an attractive opposition for, to get Westerners to move there. I don't know if you've heard about Hungary, that lots of right wingers have started moving to Hungary.
Yeah,
because they view it as like Orban is like their guy, and he's stopping the evil wokeness of the West. So you've had a lot of like hardcore right wingers moving to Hungary for the past sort of couple of years. Putin now seems to be doing the same, and this is again trying to reverse the demographic problems that Russia is experiencing at the moment.
Why would you move somewhere that's fascist? Like, why would you be like, oh, I'm sick of all these freedoms. I want to go somewhere where I've got my neighbours breathing down my neck and reporting me for every burp, fart and whistle I make. That's not in the correct fucking key of G or whatever the Russian national anthem is.
This comes to again back to something else we covered not too long ago, because you remember I think exact same episode we talked about a family from Canada that had moved.
Yes,
you remember them?
Yeah. Wasn't there a spy family recently whose children didn't know that they were spies? And it was like the TV show The Americans. Like, literally, the kids didn't know that their parents were spies. But they have been for like decades. Punninator, thank you very much for the £10 super chat, mate. That is very kind. Punninator's being very kind. It's because you put your bowler hat on, mate. I would laugh so hard if Trump went to Russia for no extradition. Harris massively boosts support for Ukraine and only removes US forces in return for Trump being handed over in chains. That would be excellent. No, yeah, Trump's, Elon Musk, all those horrible people. Just go and. They can either bake their asses off in Saudi Arabia, like Idi Amin did for the rest of his days, godforsaken days, or they can go and live in Russia for the rest of their lives and freeze their asses off. I don't care. You can bake them, you freeze them. I really just please go away. Please, it would be really great if Elon Musk just stopped.
Yeah, but this is an attempt to, like I say, try and attract more immigrants into Russia. And I wouldn't be surprised if some people do take that opportunity, because, like I say, if you look at the exchange rate at the moment,
What,
you can
from
you can
Europe?
buy,
From Europe, maybe from a developing nation, but come
yeah,
on.
you can exchange your money for quite a lot of rubles at the moment with the Russian ruble, how low it is at the moment. So it wouldn't surprise me if some like extremist right wingers do end up doing this in some way, shape, or form.
Oh,
Like I say,
mate.
there's already that Canadian family that we talked about, so it would not surprise me if more follow suit and
Yeah.
do that in some way, shape, or form.
Okay, so I have a question for you. What's going on in China?
Yeah. Oh, what isn't going on in China? So yeah, this was I think I scared you all in the WhatsApp chat when I put this up.
We just got I got a notification on my phone, and I was driving at the time. It just popped up, and it was Ollie going, "What's happening with China?" And they are words that you don't want to hear in it. You know what I mean? And you're in like a politics group, and someone says, "What the hell's going on in China?" You're like, "Oh shit!"
Um,
So tell us, because I didn't
yeah.
read about any of this in the
Yeah,
usual
let me take you
places.
through what happened with me when
Okay.
I was sort of following through this. So I follow Laserpig on the Twitter still. And if you don't know who Laserpig is, he's a big sort of history YouTuber, talks a lot about tanks, etc. He's very good. Go give him a follow. But he tweeted out what is going on in China, and I was like, oh, if he said something like that, then so is something going on in China? So
Mm.
I was sort of reading more through these comments, and a lot of people were saying, oh, Xi might have been subject to an internal Communist Party coup, that someone in the CCP might have actually tried to coup Xi. Now, it doesn't look like that's what happened, but that's what the rumors were going around at the time in those comments. But I haven't found anything to actually back that up.
Okay.
But one of the
But
things that's been happening at the moment is there's been a lot of buildup with Xi threatening Taiwan recently, and there's a lot of stuff that this might be once again to try and settle factions
yeah,
in the CCP, because there's a big movement in China called I can't remember how you say it in China, but it's called the Lay Down movement,
yeah,
and this is by a lot of young Chinese, because the last time the statistics were released, youth unemployment in China was like 21%.
wow,
So yeah,
wow,
that is very, very high for youth unemployment. Not only that, but you've had, for the past couple of years, China has been putting a lot of restrictions on companies. So private education companies. These
yeah,
started back in the early 90s. Some of them got so big, they ended up even trading on the Wall Street Stock Exchange. China put a stop to them because they didn't like the fact that there was this private uh, way to be sort of educated. And I think over 200,000 jobs in China went overnight, just like that, in a day, as soon as these regulations went into place. Not only that, they've done this in tech companies, they've done
yeah,
this in a lot of other sort of areas as well, especially growing and developing areas where they really sort of want to be, developing your economy. So this has now resulted in a lot of very highly educated, uh, you know, Chinese graduates and young people basically being unable to work or put their degrees to use, to a point where you've now got young Chinese graduates
yeah.
being paid a wage by their parents to be a child again, to hang out with their children, to clean their house,
Oh wow,
etc. so, um,
that sounds like what's
so
happening in the UK. To be honest with you, I mean, there's so many people, millennials, living with their
yeah,
parents now because there's just the cost of living has just gone through the roof. I
yep,
mean, yeah, I was reading something about the cost of things in like 1990 and how much they cost now, and compared with what the inflation says it should be, and nearly everything was like 10 times
yeah,
what it should be if it was just based on inflation, except for London tube fares. London tube fares have increased with inflation since 1990. almost nothing else has, and beer hasn't, Mars bars haven't, whatever. Janie Sample says China crisis. African and white. Hey. I used to do videos for China crisis back in the day. Filmed a few of their gigs. Anyway, Duke Vengeance has said, I'm going to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space!
Oh, Tim Curry.
Just a little bit of a reference there to any Command and Conquer fans in the house. Though he sort of goes, space! Like that, doesn't he? Space! He's putting on like a terrible Russian accent. God, he's having fun. I like Tim Curry having fun. It's always a good time.
Like I say, I'm gonna get you a soundboard one day, Graham, and that has to be one of the one of the noises you put on it.
Yeah. I do a terrible impression. Vendetta saying, I bet sales on Winnie the Pooh isn't happening in China. No, because if you compare Xi Jinping to Winnie the Pooh, you get put in jail. So simple as that. So what's happening in Pakistan? I believe they're banning the internet there. How are they getting on with that?
Yeah, pretty much. It's exactly as you sound like you've just said. A lot of people have been noticing that their internet in Pakistan has been slowing to a crawl, and this isn't like Wayne with bad internet before he finally upgrades. This is everyone in Pakistan for the past week or so has been reporting this, that their internet has been slowing down to a crawl, and there's all this stuff coming out with the government trying to deny it, that they're trying to erect this massive firewall within the sort of the infrastructure of their internet, which is exactly what China did. And this is an attempt to try and control the information and flow of information in and out of Pakistan. So that is again quite concerning, I think, and unfortunately, I think might set a future direction of potentially how bad things could go, maybe in Pakistan as well.
Okay. Do you know why the internet is so bad on our phones in this country?
Oh, is this? Oh, yes, because we're still using copper wiring, aren't we?
No. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've certainly noticed in the last year or so, whenever you're somewhere where there's a lot of people about, your phone stops picking up the internet at any. You can just about get your messages maybe. And this is happening. I thought it was just because I'm on giffgaff and they piggyback on the O2 network, but apparently it's across the board. All mobile phone providers are really, really struggling with delivering the kind of constant internet connection. If you're on a train, if you're driving in a car, you'll have noticed this. And apparently it's because of Huawei, the Chinese tech giants who were told to get all their shit out of our infrastructure a couple of years ago by the Tory government. So they've been removing their shit from our infrastructure, and it's not left much left. And basically, that's the reason why everything's really slow.
UK with bad infrastructure. Say it ain't so.
Because the Tories apparently told Huawei to piss off under the instruction of the Americans. By the way, it was the Americans who said you need to stop them having so much because they could have like backdoor access to our telecommunications. But at the same time, you look at it going, well, if you're going to get rid of them, okay, that's fine. What were you going to replace them with? And obviously the Tories being Tories, they didn't replace them with anything. So there's lots of bolts missing in the internet infrastructure in the UK, which is a bit of a nightmare. Which brings us on to our last topic, I think, tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about the DNC, the Democratic National Convention. Somewhat unconventional convention this week because, first of all, Kamala Harris turned up last night. The actual nominee doesn't normally turn up till the end for a big rousing applause, but she was there. Biden gave a speech.
Yep, and I thought that Biden speech was very, very good.
It was fine. He made a few. He lost his thread a couple of times, but I mean,
it didn't
matter now. It's not a matter of life and death now. Well, it might be for him, but like for the rest of us, I'm not like having kittens because he accidentally says the wrong word. So I can chill out. And Hillary Clinton was there as well, giving her support. And apparently the Obamas are going to be there today, I think. Puninator, thank you very much. We're still using copper wiring. Damn, I thought the Tories tore it all out on July the 4th. By the way, yes, I do find, I do very much appreciate the bowler hat and the fez. So there you go. Another super chat from Puninator. Thank you very much, Puninator. That's very kind of you. But yeah, we still have copper wiring in the UK. It's getting replaced with optical fibres, but that's something that could have happened in the early 90s. But they were talking about a nationwide infrastructure upgrade so that everyone could have what would become to be known as the World Wide Web in their house. I mean, this is back in 1990. And Margaret Thatcher said no because it wouldn't be in the spirit of capitalism, because it would be BT putting it all in, and it would all be owned by BT. So what we got instead is a bunch of cables, and they're all owned by BT, OpenReach, and basically you hire those cables off BT with another company. Yeah, okay. Questionable Absanity, thank you very much for the £5 super chat, mate. That is very kind of you. Why is the country that literally invented the phone, the internet, and educated the Chinese engineers relying on Chinese tech? Because Tories. The Tories don't want to. They don't want to invest in this country. They only want to invest in themselves. Best way to put it. Anyway, let's talk about the Democratic Convention. So it's all going quite well so far, isn't it?
Yeah, it has. Honestly, I think by the end of this week, I think we're probably going to see another boost in the polls. I really do. So so far so good, as they say. Cross wood, touch wood, all that jazz.
Yeah.
But they are really doing so really good. You had Biden did a really good speech. I didn't think it was really, really good. And I think, the fact that he really did sort of, he listed out his achievements, which before this, I've been saying for so long, Biden needs to talk about this is what he did for while he was in power. This is the good stuff he did. And he finally went out there and articulated, this is what I did when I was in. And it was good. It was good. He got it. He communicated it. He got it across. And I think that during the re-election campaign, I think, Harrison Waltz will benefit if they roll out Biden, like, not all the time, but if they roll him out at like a couple of like big campaign events, especially in like maybe even swing states, and go, this is what I did when I was in power. This is why Democrats should be in power. This is why Kamala is coming in. This is like all the good work she is going to continue. I think that works really, really well for a Democrat re-election campaign. But we'll see what happens. Maybe he goes and takes a back seat for the rest of the campaign. But I think it would be very, very foolish not to use him at some point or another during this campaign.
Well, I'm looking at the stats on 538, and which is, it aggregates all the polls, and you're seeing the gap between Harris and Trump, which was plus 0.2 when Harris got into the campaign, and it's now just getting bigger. It's nearly 3% now gap, which is still within the margin of error. Don't take anything for granted, but it looks like a pair of tweezers at the moment. The gap is incrementally widening, and also you're seeing Kamala Harris's popularity going up as well. So her unfavorability rating is coming down while her favorability rating is going up, and it might cross over in the next couple of weeks. It started off, it was, there was a bit of a gap. It was about the same as Trump's, actually. Trump's is about, I think, minus 8.5, and hers is now minus 2.5. I think she's really brought it back together, and more people are warming to her as they get to know her. I think a big issue with Kamala, and one of the reasons why people didn't think that Biden should step aside was because people didn't know who she was, didn't know what she stood for. She didn't seem to have done that much as vice president that people know about, which is fair enough. And this is something that I mentioned with a lot of the Labour front bench. Like, people didn't know their names, and I always thought that was a mistake. I always thought that they should be getting that out there. And the more people who knew who, say, Angela Rayner was, or
David Lammy,
Reeves,
Rachel Reeves,
all those names sort of were being used sort of on an everyday basis. I thought that's good because you know who they are. And Kamala Harris, when she became vice president, she had really positive figures overall really, really positive figures, which sort of died away within the first few months of the Biden presidency. So I'm hoping to get back to there because that would be fantastic. So Paul says he's still running the country, talking about Biden. Yeah, because he takes his job seriously, unlike Trump, who went off to play golf once a week, every week while he was president.
Yeah, I think you've just said this, but I'm just again looking at 538 again. They've got who's ahead in the national polls. Yeah. You've got Harris at 46.7% and Trump's at 43.8%.
Yeah, so it's 2.8.
And then
isn't it?
Someone else we should actually talk about Kennedy, because Kennedy at these polls is at 4.9%, and I think it is well worth bringing up the fact that we've seen that phone call that it was a couple of weeks ago that Trump and Kennedy are in cahoots, and the whole reason why Kennedy is there, why he is running, why he is being backed by some really strange right wingers. Like even I don't know if you've seen recently, Bannon is backing Jill Stein.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Because I was about to mention Jill Stein. So Jill Stein is the Green candidate. We were talking about her last night in Stateside. And Mikey Fammon's got a few things to say about Jill Stein. She ran as a spoiler candidate in 2016, which helped Trump, because obviously that was quite a close election in which Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, but obviously lost the electoral college. Didn't mount an insurrection against the fact that she lost, but that's horses for courses, I guess. Whereas now you've got Jill Stein. She's running again, and she's just picked her running mate, her VP, who is going to be. She's got no chance of winning, so it's just a running mate. Who is a Muslim man who is there to hive off support from the Democrats.
Yeah, they're trying to get that.
They're trying to make a massive schism over Gaza.
Yeah,
and again, it's really annoying because this is the MO of the right wing. This is what they do. They all work together around the world.
Say it again, as we said it in our election, these independents by themselves can't really do anything. Like technically, they can do nothing. Only like the ruling party can, and that will be Labour. So if you want the situation to be better in Gaza, then you want to push Labour. You want to put pressure on them, which we have seen, not only on just but another sort of couple of issues as well. So it just goes to show you that putting that pressure on them does work. And now, what's going to happen in America? You are going to get this attempt to have these two spoiler candidates really, really push forward and really try and steal votes away from the Democrats. That's why they are there. Yeah. That's why they're there to do it. So how successful they will be,
I've got a real problem with Jill Stein because Robert Kennedy is just a gobshite. I get that, but like Jill Stein, she says she's a Green candidate. How dare she say that while she is doing everything in her power to make sure Trump gets elected, who doesn't give a shit about the green agenda, who is going to just trample over the world, burn as much phosphorus. He said he's going to drill. He said he's going to be a dictator from day one, and he's going to drill. That's what he said. For oil, for fossil fuels, he will continue to destroy the planet, fill the oceans full of plastic, raise the levels of CO2 to things to levels not seen in millions of years. And don't forget, 98% of the surface of the atmosphere of Venus is made up of what? Carbon dioxide. And what's Venus like to live on? It's a sulfuric acid bath hellhole. I really don't recommend it for the holidays. Poor old Venus. We named it after the goddess of love. And then we sent some probes there, and they melted in the sky before they hit the ground because the conditions there are so uninhabitable, which is what these psychopath bastards like Trump want to do. And Jill Stein's facilitating that. If he wins, she would have gone some way into making that happen.
Yeah, and I
don't know how she sleeps at night. I really don't.
It's especially in the American election, like I say, having these two candidates run. If this is a close race, if this becomes a close race, then it's all about how many votes did they hive off? How many votes did they take away from the Democrats in that particular state? And then this is where, Trump's allowed to squeak ahead. Yeah. And you are going to be seeing both these candidates run campaigns explicitly to try and target Democrats, like Junior.
Disaffected
He's running on his
Democrats.
name. He's running on that JFK name
And he's
because
saying
in
he's
America,
the anti-establishment candidate. He's saying he's like with a straight face. He's a Kennedy, and he's saying I'm against it.
But Kennedys are like royalty.
I know. It's basically
America.
American royalty say. It's like the Queen saying, "I'm running against. I'm your anti-establishment candidate." No, you're not. You're the Queen. Siskinator, say what you like about acid rain, but global shipping bunker oil until last year was counteracting global warming for sea surface temperature. I mean, there's also the fact that when the vapor trails that planes made deflect a lot of the sun's light. They just do. So when the planes were all grounded in the wake of 9/11 for a few days, we actually saw the surface temperature of the Earth leap up because there was nothing basically creating clouds or vapor trails in the sky. It's just a pot of it's a horror show at the moment, and we're racing towards tipping point after tipping point after tipping point, and I don't know how Jill Stein calls herself a green. I don't know how she sleeps at night. Like I say, unless it's on like an absolute pile of money, I just don't get it. And I think it's really disingenuous for her to call herself a green when I think her agenda is as ungreen as it's possible to be. The convention, the Democratic National Convention, that's going to run until Thursday. Is that right?
Yep.
And the big thing that we're looking out for is Taylor Swift and Beyonce coming on and doing a song together.
Yeah, because there's a lot of Hollywood stars apparently due to make their appearance this week. So
fingers crossed.
Become a very star-studded event.
Yes, I really, really hope that happens. But also, did you see Trump put out pictures of? We talked about this on Stateside last night. He put out AI images of Taylor Swift.
Yeah, Taylor Swift. Yeah,
dressed as Uncle Sam, saying I'm supporting Trump.
Oh, and speaking of that, did you see Elon is being sued again?
Again? Oh shit! I just kicked the camera.
For unpaid internet bills.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he is. Because when he took over Twitter initially, there were a lot of bills that he basically didn't decide to pay, and now he's not paying.
Oh my god!
IT bills. Once again, just another twist in the whole.
Didn't he say like something about he knows everything about a courtroom because he's been in the courtroom so many times? Or was that Trump who said it? It's so difficult to tell the difference now between Musk and Trump. They're basically the same horrific man baby who no one's ever said no to, and if anyone does say no to, they just spit the dummy out the pram. But yeah. Donald says USA Green is all about the colour of dollars. The Green Party, the capitalist party. Let's make loads of money out of oil party. But I feel the same way about Jill Steiner to do about the Just Stop Oil protesters in this country. I think that they are actively working against the environmental movement, and I think they're being paid handsomely to do so. It can't be any coincidence that everyone who seems to be arrested to the JSO is all called Cressida or Tarquin or Guinevere, or a name that you would not have if you were born on a sink estate in Bootle. Let's just tell you that now. Tim, thank you very much for the super chat, mate. Ooh, I think that's probably the last super chat of the night. Thank you very much for that. Graham, have you seen Ketamine Space Karen AI images? Well, I've seen a copy of the tweet that was put out. I know that they've got this thing called Grok.
Oh yeah.
Which is the noise I make when I'm trying to hack some phlegm up. That's the noise I make. It's a bit like that company Huel. I mentioned this the other day. Like, there's a company called Huel that makes like protein shakes or something. Huel is the noise I make when I'm vomiting, and I'm like, who called it that? And he's called his AI thing Grok. That to me is that noise. Anyway, so Grok and Huel, which would be a good name for a couple of I don't know, ogres or something. This is his AI, and there are no filters on it, like no safeguards. There's no safeguards on it, so you can just basically make what you want. So people are making really obnoxious pictures of famous Disney characters doing things, and Disney's going to be looking at this, going, "I'm sorry, mate. we're gonna have to sue you again. I don't think they're gonna say sorry. I just think they're gonna sue. I just think they're gonna sue. Thank you very much for the 5 books from the USA, Christine. That's very kind of you. With a little gift that says noob. Yeah. Anyway, so it's been fun. Is there anything else before we go? Got to wrap up now.
No, that's it really. That's all I've got this week. Yeah.
So Ollie gives me a list every Tuesday to go through.
Just for a brief update on that.
Oh, so yeah, I mean, because the election was a few weeks ago now, wasn't it?
Yep.
Have they released any information about the actual count or anything? No.
No, still lots of protests, but crackdowns are happening. So
yeah.
Again, we'll keep an eye on what's going on over there, but I'm not expecting good news for a while, to be honest, from Venezuela.
Yeah. Not the last one, says Puninator. I throws another £10 in. Thank you very much for the super chat, Puninator. That's very kind. Not the last one, Graham. JFK truly lives the quote: "You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain." Anyone who's seen Red Dwarf will agree. Well, yeah, Red Dwarf and also Batman. But yeah, it's very true. And Christopher Bowl says Musk is the meme of Mike Judge's Silicon Valley. If you want to watch a very, very funny and savvy TV show, I can't recommend Mike Judge's Silicon Valley enough. It was on HBO. Hardly anyone saw it. It ran for about 5 seasons. It was funny as hell and very, very clever. And yeah, it's all there. There's a character who's Musk. There's a character who's Zuckerberg. There's a character, you're watching it going, oh, yeah, he's that, yeah. And it does a very, very good job of lampooning these absolute weirdos who have just an inordinate amount of control over our lives. Because just think, like, you can talk about how much the sun has controlled people's thinking for years, but in a city like Liverpool, we don't read the sun. You could get away from it. You can't really get away from the internet. You can't get away from social media. Even if you're not on Facebook and Twitter and TikTok, people will still send you links to stuff to read in WhatsApp. So you get it on your phone and you're like, what's this? What's this crap? Why are you sending me this? And so the misinformation is just, it's kind of unlimited. Anyway, on that note, hopefully things will get better. Fingers crossed. I'd just like to say a big thank you to Ollie for endowing us with his wisdom about what's happening in the world. I'd like to say a big thank you to all the socialites in the chat, and also for the super chats. Thank you so much. That's really kind. We are going to deliver you to the safe and capable hands of Maximilian Robespierre now. If you continue watching this channel, we'll flick over to that. So please keep watching, and when you go over to Max's channel, say hi from Graham and Ollie. That'll be cool. So until next time, I'll be back in the morning at 9:30 for Morning Brew. And until then, I'll say thanks for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.
Bye.
Oh no, the credits haven't played properly. Why don't you play credits? Whoa. Hang on. There we go. It's working now. Good stuff. All right, bye everyone.
Bye.